All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wayne Jones Show. We are here today with a fantastic guest. Before I get into him, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching the show, who's been listening on SoundCloud, downloading it, subscribing on iTunes, and watching the YouTube videos too. Most of our listenership is audio, but we have the videos as well for you guys to check out to see what these wonderful guests look like. I mean, Ron is a beautiful man. I don't know if you've seen Pat Wu yet, but he's behind there, making sure it all works. And one day you get to see him, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna drop to the floor. Ladies, men, whatever you're into, you're gonna love it. You won't believe it. Pat Wu is a sexy piece. But enough about Pat. Enough about everything. We're getting into an awesome episode today. It's probably episode 8, I believe. This is episode 8. And I couldn't have found a better guy. We actually tried to do an episode before, but I screwed it up technically.
Wayne, tell me you're recording.
Yeah.
Tell me you're recording.
Now we're recording.
I can't do a third take.
He can't
of
do
this
a third
podcast.
take. He can't. It's not easy
We
to
did
get this
it already.
guy. It's not easy to get this guy, and when I get him, I got to make it count. So we're making it count today. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him from MADtv. He was the star of that show back in the mid-2000s. He is an incredibly talented actor. Right now we're in Edmonton, Alberta, but wherever he is, he's in demand. I get to perform with him, as much as I possibly can. He's a true talent and a great guy. Give it up for the one only Ron Pederson, everybody. Thanks for coming back, man, after I blew it that first time. Thanks for coming back after I blew that one, man.
Yeah, I mean, what? How are we gonna? Am I gonna reimagine what we already did?
Yeah, I'm hoping for more magic. I'm hoping for more magic.
I can't tell the same stories again.
No,
like we were together for an hour and a half.
We were, but
when did you realize that you hadn't got a stitch of footage?
Well, the thing with me is I grew up with a lot of balls and pucks and sticks and video stuff and tech stuff. I was always around, but it was never my, and what did we do? Did the video cut out or something like that? We didn't have enough storage. There's storage these days. Cyber. It's all about cyber these days. And if you don't get with the cyber trend, you get left in the dust. So we had a cyber incident, and that's what happened.
It was a cyber incident.
It was a cyber incident.
Uh-huh. A talent accident.
Mm.
Wayne, it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah. I have to go.
Since then we've actually performed together a lot more than we had before. We did that last
We've
one.
both been in Edmonton for a good stretch of time.
Yeah, we both just did the Edmonton Fringe. You had a play that got 5-star reviews, no exit. Everybody was raving about it the whole time at the Fringe. So good for you. Make some noise for that. Make some noise for the 5-star performance, please.
It was.
Talk about that for a few minutes. We got a lot to talk about, but you were with some very talented women as well. Talk about them. Talk about the play.
Yeah, Belinda Cornish and I produced it together. It's her company, Bright Young Things.
Right.
And Belinda and I are writing a play together, and that's originally what we were going to do. But we didn't have time to get in a room in like the last year to put a finishing touches on it together and reimagine it. So we had the spot at the Fringe. Suddenly we were like, well, let's not do the play. And then we went hunting for a play, and I found this weird old play called No Exit by Jean-Paul Sartre, who was like a real brainiac, existentialist thinker.
Right.
Big brain, big thoughts and big ideas in the play. Mm-hmm. But it's still like this classic strange play about 3 people who meet in a room and they sort of discover that it's hell. They know why they're there, but they don't know what the torture is going to be. Mm-hmm. And slowly they realize that it's one another. They've been chosen specifically. One's a real narcissist, one's a coward, and one's a sadist.
Right.
So they're all just sort of
tough mix.
Terrible people, but it makes for a really intense play. Like I hadn't heard that kind of silence in a theater in a long time. Just people like listening to it and working on it. And Belinda was acted in it, and Louise Lambert acted in it brilliantly. And our friend George Salaji. Yeah, wow. It was cool. It was great. It was a surprise hit because not a lot of people just do straight plays at the Fringe.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. Is you guys are kind of coming in. It's almost like you got the cheat codes because you all are amazingly talented actors. You're coming into the Edmonton Fringe, which is an incredibly big festival. Like it is a huge festival.
Huge. It's hard to produce a show at the Fringe.
It's hard, and to produce a hit show. Coming in, with people like yourselves who are so talented. I mean, it's so cool to see it where people are like, we're working hard on our Fringe shows. We're doing what we always do, and it's always a gamble. We're just crushing it over here. We're just crushing it over here.
Well, it's
what I mean? It's a beautiful thing because you need the range of everything. And growing up as an actor, you have crushed many nights before, but there's been nights where it didn't go so well too. So it's nice to really have that, you know.
Hey, I've never had a bad night. What are you
I
talking
just
about?
assumed. I assumed.
No,
I didn't.
haven't.
It's a
That's-
different
don't
learning
assume.
curve.
Don't
Wow.
presume that.
Wow.
Never bombed.
Listen, I'm sorry. Are we still rolling? Did we turn the video on?
Is
the video on?
We didn't get it.
Oh shit! Listen, Ron.
Let's start
We
again.
gotta start again.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wayne Jones Show. Ron
Wayne.
Pederson, star of No Exit at the Edmonton Fringe. It's over. You
Fringe
can't
is
see
over.
it. You
It's
can't
not
see it.
promoting
It's
it.
over.
I don't
But
know. We spent too
he
much
killed
time
it.
talking
No,
about it already.
Listen, what I love
Let's-
about Sarter myself is the fact that he wrote No Exit and that it
That is
you
interesting,
guys
isn't it?
ki-
It's an
you guys
interesting
killed
fact
it.
of him
Yeah.
about him.
Listen, Ron. One of the most when people talk about Ron Pederson, they talk about MADtv.
Yes.
You lived in Hollywood. I'm about to spend a bunch more time in Hollywood myself. I'm excited. But you lived there. You did the Hollywood life. You got the stories. You had the nights. You were on MADtv. You're friends with the likes of Martin Short.
Well.
You have these. You know these people. You've done these things that are incredible. What's something about Hollywood that, because you're a very busy guy and you do amazing productions and all the work you do is incredible, and you're busy. So it's not like you couldn't be there. You just do other stuff that's equally as awesome. What do you miss about Hollywood?
Oh, that's a good. I didn't think the question was going there. You sort of.
Boom.
Yeah, is there like Larry King over here? What do I miss about Hollywood? I miss the restaurants, Wayne. Soot Bull Jeep was a Korean barbecue.
Wow.
Charcoal barbecue.
Wow.
Put the short ribs right on there. You leave your jacket in the car because
gonna
it gets
stink.
charcoaly
Oh wow.
in there. Just the most amazing flavored food I've ever had in my life.
Is that in Koreatown?
Koreatown, 8th Avenue, Soot Bull Jeep.
Soot Bull Jeep.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of answer you wanted with what I missed from LA?
That's what I wanted. Yeah, because I'm thinking of moving to Koreatown, and there's a lot of restaurants to choose. So in the back of my head, I was like,
You only need one.
I was like, go Korean, go Korean, go Korean, go
You
Korean.
only need one
He went
restaurant.
Korean, man. Now, did you only eat in Koreatown, or did you eat at other places as well?
No, I also enjoyed some restaurants in Beverly Hills.
Really, Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
Did you-
Orso was a great
Orso,
classic.
okay.
Yeah, it's a classic restaurant.
Yeah.
Il Piccolino was an Italian restaurant
Okay.
in, I can't remember where that.
We have a
somewhere.
Piccolinos here in Edmonton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
There's
I
no
don't think.
ill at
No,
the beginning.
Yeah, that's
healthy
amazing,
Piccolinos.
amazing food. I used to like to go to a place called the Formosa,
Right.
which
okay.
is right on Santa Monica, and right across from it is another great restaurant called Jones. They're right across the street from each other, fucking great bars to go to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good to
you'll go
know.
there.
Good
And
to
the
know.
Formosa is like an old school, like Hollywood bar from the 30s and 40s. There's like pictures of
Well,
Humphrey
that's the
Bogart.
cool thing about Hollywood is that I noticed when I was there, who did we run into? We ran into Strombolopolis and at Barney's Cafe, and
Oh yeah,
I had
Barney's
met-
Beanery.
Barney's Beanery.
Yeah.
Barney's Beanery, and I had met him when we did the Soapathon in 2013 in Toronto, and like just briefly met him, and I was like, that's enough. Hey George, you over here? We're from Canada. We were in the Soapathon thing. He's like, oh yeah, cool, you guys. And he sat down with me and Dana, and we had a beer. We were just chatting with him, and he was telling a story about how Barney's Beanery was the last place Janis Joplin ate before she went and died.
Do you
At
know
the
where she
Chateau
died?
Marmont, right?
No, it wasn't the Chateau
No?
Marmont. It was the Landmark Hotel, which is now the Highland Gardens.
Well, I think he said the Marmont, so maybe he has the story wrong.
He's got the story
Wow.
wrong because it was the
Or maybe I heard it wrong. Maybe he said that, and I'm causing all this
Landmark Hotel. I think if we even Googled it, it's the Landmark because it became the Highland Gardens,
Right.
which is where I lived for the first 6 months of living in Hollywood.
Right.
Because it was just for some reason it's where the Canadians flocked. They even made a documentary on it called Camp Hollywood. I haven't seen it. Apparently it's a bit depressing, but I rented an apartment there, and it was famous for this is where Janis Joplin died, the Landmark Hotel.
Right, and that's the thing is that that's
Maybe
what
she
I'm
was
saying.
getting loaded at the Chateau Marmont.
Well,
but-
those restaurants, those bars, they have those stories in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about
Yeah.
it. This person died here after this. There was a fight between these two
Yeah.
guys here. This is where they got discovered.
you know the Comedy Store?
Yeah.
There's a story of, I wish I could remember the name, but Mitzi, who runs the
Runs it.
Comedy Store,
Yeah.
she wouldn't let this particular comic in, and he committed suicide by jumping off the building next to it and landing on the Comedy Store.
Wow.
Grim Hollywood stories.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of stuff, a lot of drugs down there, a lot of crazy shit down there. But when you were there, when you weren't eating and you weren't sleeping,
Yeah.
you were out and you were performing.
I performed, sure.
Where was
I didn't? You know what? When the show was taping, didn't perform that much.
No. But
Yeah.
when you first got down there, you were performing. And what was, like, do you have any performances that you remember from Hollywood that you would like, that was a fun night, that was a cool night?
Yeah, like in those early days. I mean, it all happened very swiftly.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flaherty, was doing his show.
Right.
And invited some of us down.
And his show was a soap.
Soap at the Second City. He was trying to kind of.
What did he call it?
He called it The Soap Also Rises.
The Soap Also Rises.
Which is a Hemingway reference.
Yes.
The Sun Also Rises.
Yes.
So, it was all set in Paris in the 1920s when Hemingway was there. But the thing with Joe's soap was that he made everybody be real people. He was like,
right.
you have to be Ernest Hemingway,
yes.
and you're Ezra Pound, and there were all these really
Cole Porter.
Yeah, Fitzgerald.
Right.
But I didn't play for some reason I was like, how about I play James Joyce's brother?
Yeah.
And he was like,
you're still related. You're still related.
Okay, yeah, that's good. But yeah, those shows were super fun to do, and like it was packed, and they were like every week Joe would be like, Fred Willard's coming this weekend. We'd be like, what?
Wow.
And who else was in that cast? Like the guy Derek Waters, who invented Drunk History.
Okay.
He was in that cast. There's a few others I think that went on to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a neat group that Joe put together.
I haven't been to the Second City. Where is the Second City down there?
I don't know where it is now. I think it's on Hollywood Boulevard, but it used to be you know where the Improv is on Melrose?
Yeah.
It used to be adjacent to it, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a little
Because Groundlings
black box.
is right there on Melrose.
Oh.
Now. And I mean, maybe I don't know if that's where it
I think
always
that's
was.
down the
that's
street.
where it is
yeah,
now.
I think
they have their school across the street from their, I guess, other school and theater.
Yeah, that's the same area. But yeah, the Second City was a cool little black box.
Yeah.
Room that was adjacent to the Improv, so you could go when you're backstage. You could go and get a drink at the bar, at the Improv.
Well, it was on Melrose. This is probably 6 months ago or 8 months ago. I was down there, and I was just scoping out places to possibly live. And I went into a bar on Melrose, and I was talking to the bartender. These three beautiful actresses all come up and just sit beside me. And they're all talking about the little short films they're in. There's nobody that I recognize, but they're working actors as everybody is there, right? So they're sitting there. I'm like, okay, this is pretty Hollywood here. This kind of thing happening. I'm like, I'll get a drink. Give me a whiskey or something like that. Let me get in the zone here. This is a really rustic bar. A lot of cool decorations and ornaments and stuff like that. And the bartender, I started talking to him. Oh yeah, what do you do? I'm like, I'm from Canada. I moved down here. I do improv. He goes, oh, improv. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah. It's easy to tell. He's like, I've done a little improv before. He's like, it's easy for me to tell when the guys come in at the improv, if they're Second City guys, if they're Groundlings guys, if they're Improv Olympic guys, if they're UCB people.
Right,
He's like,
right.
they all act a different way.
Right.
And I can tell
The
who
flavor
they are.
of the teacher.
And then he sort of talked about the way each group was. And I thought, I was like, yeah, he's a bartender, right? Bartenders know shit, man.
Yeah.
Bartenders know stuff. Like, it doesn't matter what you think of a bartender. They see people at their best and their worst in the same fucking night. So if anyone's a good judge
Especially
of
in
character,
Hollywood,
it's a
too.
bartender.
You get you get a great array, probably.
Yeah. And Craig Ferguson, who I love, I think is hilarious. He, in his book, he said that bartending was he thinks one of the most valuable things he ever did for his comedy career.
Right.
Was bartend, because he said you really get to know people, talk to people, engage with people, and that's like the true test to see if you're funny. Because if you're always, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that
you're
kind of
on
thing.
all night. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of a cool thing when he said that, and I just related to times in my life where I put myself in front of a whole bunch of people for maybe not just a performance, but for some other reason. You're hosting a party or you're doing something like that. That level of engagement is good for development, I think. And I find like the fact that I've talked to many different people of different walks of life, that it helps with anything. You're like, hey, I've talked to, you're doing really well. Well, I've talked to someone who's been doing really well before. You're doing really terrible. I've talked to people who are doing terrible before. Let's figure it out, So maybe that's that thing. But Hollywood has some interesting characters there.
Wait, you read Craig Ferguson's book?
Right.
It was good?
It's really good.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Really good. Yeah. It's my favorite biography of.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
Al. Rodney Dangerfield
You know I worked for him, right?
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, so how did that happen?
I don't know how that happened. I haven't been to LA in ages. What?
Oh, hey,
I love that we're talking about.
Make something up.
No. I do remember. That was the weirdest thing. It was after I had left MADtv, and my agent just called and said, "Can you go in to meet at the Craig Ferguson show tomorrow? They're looking for some people to do sketches." And I went in, and I had a meeting for about 20 minutes with him. And
awesome. That was awesome. That's the reality TV people want to see.
This is live.
There it goes again.
There it goes again.
Pat is dying back there. He needs an ambulance.
Wayne, I can't do this again. I can't start.
No, but continue, because you're in the middle of a great story. They needed people who to write sketches.
Oh, yeah. So the idea was they were going to get, it was his first season. And they were going to, they did end up getting myself and Dave Foley.
Wow.
And Tim Meadows, I think,
Nice.
like on rotation to do sketches with him.
Cool.
And I think I only did like 8 sketches or something like that. But it would be a different
I gotta
week.
watch them, man.
I can't
love
find
them.
them.
They're
I can't
somewhere.
find them. But
You could probably just
I
send
was
him
the
a letter
only
and say
sketch-
send the video.
I wrote a sketch based on an idea that Dana Anderson had. I phoned Dana. I was like, "Can I use your kitchen chair idea?" It was this thing we used to joke about. I lived with Dana. We were roommates. We used to joke about a kitchen chair being sold like it's exercise equipment, like kitchen chair. Get kitchen chair. Look what you can do with kitchen chair.
Yeah.
But I wrote it out as I wrote myself apart with the head writer of being like an Australian like sports guru who had brought it out as like a infomercial.
Right.
And I got him to come out from behind the desk, and he never did it again. The writer was like, he doesn't like coming out and being in the sketch. He wants to just be behind the desk and do green screen.
Right.
Which is what they did for the rest of the rest of that time. But I think my sketch was the only one that didn't fit the format. Because I was like, he had to come and act with me, and I did like a physical bit in front of him, and like Jerry
that's
Lewis.
Funny. Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, Jerry Lewis with him.
Oh, Jerry. Yeah, that's good, man.
But he was,
Jerry
he
Lewis.
was so nice. After that initial meeting, which I just think was through the MADtv connection somehow. Somebody called. But he, did the light break?
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Everything's
That's
okay.
fine. That's fine.
is
This is typical for the Wayne Jones show, honestly.
Is it?
If we don't have some
I know.
adversity, it's not a real show, man.
Well, you didn't even have a show one week.
We didn't even have a show 1 week. We had a 2-month break, and now we're firing on all cylinders. We're getting all new equipment coming in. This is the last time
You need
you're
new
ever going to
equipment.
see. Listen,
You need
this is
some
the
new-
last time you'll ever see this paper. This is, by the way, nice, glossy, high-end paper. But it's the last time you're going to see this paper. We got the stuff. We got the vinyl coming. We're all set
You're not
up.
losing this iconic image though, with the beer bottles and the.
Absolutely not. That's a one of a
iconic,
kind. You know, it's an old school microphone there.
I'd say
Old
that.
school condenser microphone on a stand.
Because of your traditional journalistic sort of
I'm known.
broadcasting.
My voice is known. You know.
Yeah.
So then the beer bottles, no labels, right? Kind of like the end of the night. You've been nursing that beer for too long. It's warm, and you peel the label off.
Who does
you know?
that at the end of the night?
There's
Who nurses a
more
beer at
people
the end
than
of the
you
night?
think. We're in Alberta, man. That's nursing a beer is like raising a baby out here. We have a big show coming up together this weekend.
Who does?
You and me.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, it's a little stripper thing I put together for a bachelorette party.
I'll do it.
Okay.
How much is it?
Pays good.
Okay, good.
$40 each.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting the money, man. We're in the money.
No, I know what you're talking about. The Soapathon.
That's right. Soapathon, the 25th anniversary.
Is this going to be out before the Soapathon?
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Yes.
because you're
Ron, why would you think that we couldn't get it together over here? Is there anything?
Dude, I didn't hear from you for
is
like
there-
3 weeks, and then you were like,
is there any precedent
we
for us-
lost it.
Is there any precedent for us not being on top of our game when it comes to?
He's still fixing the thing.
Yeah, but he's doing a damn good job and he looks good doing it. Pat Wu, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Make some noise.
Can't even run now.
Oh, he can. We put it in there too. This is 2017, man. You can put
Okay.
you could put a Pepsi can in after if we wanted. If Pepsi could pay us, we could put a Pepsi can in, man. That's how
right.
it is
If
now.
you're listening to this podcast and you would like to, support it with your product placement, sell it. We'll put
Yeah.
digitally. We can even after the fact. We can digitally.
I
put
won't
something.
show you who that is because they're not paying us, but you can guess. This could be you if you are this company. But Okay, fine, Perrier, but still, it could be you. Whatever you want, Lysol, anything. We don't care. We'll put it on there.
Can we talk about 9/11 for a minute?
No.
Okay,
Now,
sorry. It's
yeah.
9/11.
It is 9/11. Of course, we can talk about 9/11. I just don't want to do. I don't want.
I don't believe. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'd love to talk about it. We have to talk about it. It's 9/11
Wouldn't
today.
it be terrible if I was just
It's
suddenly a
9/11
total
today.
conspiracy theorist? that
No.
Went
It would make
off?
for good content, is what it would.
Yeah,
I just want to talk about the Soapathon first, and then let's touch a bit on 9/11.
I can connect them too because I did the Soapathon right after 9/11.
And the
the year
Soapathon
of
theme this
9/11.
year is
9/11.
9/11.
Oh no!
Oh, man.
That's a
No,
bad
it's
idea.
absolutely not.
That's a
It's
bad
not.
idea.
Please,
It's not.
please still come,
It's not-
everyone.
You have to cut this part out.
No,
because we can't even joke.
No, it was good. That was the best joke of the podcast so far. So, but the Soapathon theme this year is the Soapocalypse, which is the end of the world, so to speak. But did some people survive? Are there still some groups, some societies of people that exist after the so-called apocalypse? And what's that like? What's that post-apocalyptic world like? Soapocalypse 2025.
Yeah,
It's a hard word to
It
say.
is, yeah.
Soapocalypse
It's hard to market.
2025. It's hard to write, too, and spell properly.
Yeah,
a lot of
good-
Y's and P's in
Good
there.
marketing strategy,
Yeah.
guys.
Soapocalypse 2025 is the name of the show, and it's I designed the poster for it. It's the sickest
looks
poster.
great. It
I'm
looks great.
pumped about the poster, and it's because Stephanie
If the
Wolf,
show is as good as the
Stephanie
poster,
Wolf's face, it won't be. But the poster is great.
no, this is an amazing event. It's 50 hours long. I did it back in the day. The one time I did the whole thing, it was
Right.
53 hours.
Right.
Now they've dropped that, and because every year they were adding. It's
Well, when I first did it, it was 55, and I did that whole thing.
Oh shit!
But
in Toronto.
truth be told, I had a couple hours
Yeah.
where we were in. There's a snowstorm. We were in transit
Yeah,
between
that's-
locations.
Didn't work.
Did about 52.
It's nothing.
53 hours of 55.
No, 52 probably.
So you know what it's like. 51 and a half. But you know what it's like.
It's amazing.
It's such a fun experience. And then I've done it in Edmonton as well. And it's just been so cool. The problem is in Edmonton, it always falls on my birthday. And I share my birthday with my dad, so it's like a family event every year.
yeah.
So we're always like, I'm always like, oh, I got this family
Oh yeah,
event
I remember you. Yeah,
halfway
right.
through the thing, kind
Oh.
of, So I think that
Oh.
light's coming back.
Oh.
Here we go. There we are.
Oh,
Did that thing
nice.
break? Oh,
It
piece
broke.
fell off.
People,
eh?
if you're listening at home,
I like that though. It's guerrilla warfare, man. I like that. We're
I know it's. I gotta
now
put
it
these on.
looks like
There we
it looks like we're hiding behind a fence, and there's a truck in front of us, and we're like hiding from the rednecks down in Missouri who are trying to find us because we were, doing good, and they don't want that happening in their county. They want good happening in their county.
I lost the thread entirely there.
It was a thin thread.
Okay.
It was a thin thread.
Hey, speaking of threads and apocalypse, this is what I was gonna say. Do you know who you're gonna play in the Soapathon?
I have an idea, but I'm notorious for switching, at any moment up to 30 minutes before the show because
Yeah.
I don't care. It's
Yeah.
improv, and I love that about it. The fact of just whatever, right?
One year
But-
it was set at the autumnal Olympics, the autumn Olympics,
Yeah.
and right as the show started, there was a great big dog mascot head,
Mhm.
and I was like, I'll be the mascot of the Olympics, and I put it on, and I was just sort of waiting, and it was like 2 minutes to the show, and I was like, inside that thing, I was like, I can't be in this thing for hours.
Oh man.
So I took it off, and I just became a doctor, like just put and just was like,
Yeah.
it was the best thing that ever happened. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, you had to.
yeah, and then I became this great
Yeah.
character, and
Well, Dynasty is really good for, Dynasty. If this is the first episode they're ever watching, Dynasty, the live improvised soap opera, has been running for 26 years, 27 years.
yeah,
In
something
Edmonton?
like that, yeah.
Amazingly talented people like Ron Pederson are a part of the cast, have been a part of it in previous years, a part of it now when he's in town. Nathan Fillion, everybody that's part of it now, Belinda, Stephanie, Sherry, the list goes on. I could name every single person.
Yeah.
From that to Brad Fisher, to Jim, to everybody. Everybody who's involved in the show is amazing. And it's a live improvised soap opera. So we go every Monday night from October to May, and we improvise whatever the theme is. So, we had themes before of Vikings. So it's a Viking world, and you just improvise it every Monday night. There's a loyal crowd that
A
comes.
continuing story.
Continuing story. There's a loyal crowd that comes out to watch it. Big crowd, big, awesome Edmonton crowd. And it's super fun. And every year, Dynasty does a soapathon where they do 50 to 53 hours straight of improv comedy with only 10-minute breaks or so every 2 hours to hydrate and use the washroom, and then you're right back on stage again. And this year's the 25th anniversary of it, and it's apocalypse themed. And Ron asked me who I'm going to be, and when people talk about it and the references that we've used, Mad Max, Fury Road, the newest, that's what I'm really feeling. Like I'm feeling that world. So I want to be maybe one of those warrior guys who's either on the bad side and wants to do good, like one of the main guys in the movie, or just like that kind of thing. Though I see a dusty world, a hot dusty world with like minimal clothing and a lot of struggle for maybe something simple like water, air, something like that. I don't want anything too difficult of a mission. You know what I mean? I just want some water, maybe.
That's good. That's always good. A simple need.
Simple need. What about you? Yeah, any ideas?
Well, I was gonna say was when I think of the apocalypse, when I was a kid, I was really afraid of nuclear war, and I'd seen this movie. So in the '80s, they made a nuclear war movie that was like a movie of the week with Steve Guttenberg and John Lithgow. It was called The Day After. And it's about this small town in Kansas that gets hit, like the war with Russia happens and this little town gets hit, and it's really depressing and like scary. And it was a really freaky movie, and it freaked a lot of people out. There was even a statistic in Time magazine about how the suicide rate went up. They could actually see a spike in it.
And it was a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
What was with made-for-TV movies in the 80s? They were crazy.
Yeah, they went far.
There was made-for-TV movies in the 80s that are light years better than movies that have $200 million.
Yeah, good stuff.
Put into them now.
But the BBC in England made their version of a movie and it was called Threads, and it was about a small town, Sheffield in England, that gets hit by by nuclear war. But it was
called Threads.
Yeah, Threads.
Thanks for tying that in there.
Yes, and it fucking terrified me.
Wow.
Like, it was like it made The Day After look like The Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
Like it had all these details. You can see it on YouTube. Threads. Like it's got all these details about war. Follows these families being terrified of it and getting cancer and following them for 7 years. And this woman is pregnant, like just having to give her baby birth and the fucking people raping
agonizing.
her. And,
sounds agonizing.
It's just horrible. And I saw it when I was like 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you watch it?
It was at my aunt's house. I was like at my
she
aunt's
had an
house
old
for the
tape
weekend.
and you just...
No, she was like rented it or something.
Wow.
And I remember it was on and I'm coloring or
was
whatever.
Is your aunt, was she like, this will mess him up?
Maybe. But she messed me up more because I said, could this happen? And she was like, it absolutely could. Like 1988 or whatever. Yeah. And so to bring it back, that's what I was thinking. I would play like somebody from Northern England who was like dispossessed by just lost and
coming out of the rubble.
Yeah, just a businessman of some kind. Yeah, an accountant.
Is there any way to get that light higher, Pat? Because Ron's face is sort of half lit. Maybe it's fully lit. I can't.
I have a clause that I get to approve my lighting.
That pieces came off though, eh? Yeah. Oh, no problem, man. Just I think it should be fine over there. There we go. Now, Ron, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is so when was the first time that you performed on stage in a play? How old were you?
Well, I mean, in the third grade, I was in like the Christmas pageant.
Right.
And that's vivid. Like it's like
you
I
have
had
that
a feeling. Yeah, and there's also a picture that I'd see when I was a kid, like singing in a concert, and I remember this feeling of the audience
being up there,
the audience congregated, and just some sort of the power in the room or whatever, something.
Right.
No, I didn't have a part. I wasn't noticed. I didn't get a laugh. But I remember being serious. I remember my parents waving when I was like the shepherd in the Christmas play, and being fucking serious about it. And then like I would pretend, in the backyard with my friends down the street, and there were these brothers, and I remember, and they were always sort of one-upping each other, and one was like, I'm an actor, and it was like the first time I heard that term in a way, like, I'm a better actor than you
10
are.
Years old?
Yeah, no, younger. Like 7. Like,
okay.
I'm a better actor than you are, and the idea of acting, and we were like,
yeah.
I'll show you how to punch on how they punch on TV, and pretending that idea. And then I wouldn't stop talking about being an actor, and my mom found this Citadel Theater School thing in the newspaper, like, to enroll, and she fucking enrolled me into a class.
That early.
Yeah,
Boom.
she was like, "You won't shut up about it." I didn't like Taekwondo.
Right.
Hockey was stupid.
Right.
To me at the time, I was always like, "I don't want to get up," or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And so they sort of like, "Okay, try this," and it was like
Cool.
amazing. And you could audition for little plays there, and then you
Cool.
do a little play at the end of your. So at the end of the first year, I was like on the McLab stage with my class
And that
for
was-
like a
so that was-
15-minute play.
And you were 7, 8?
Probably about 8 years old.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
8 or
awesome.
9, yeah. And then
That's awesome.
and then I auditioned for plays, and then I in '89, so I was 11. I played Wilbur in Charlotte's Web at the Citadel, and then so I started pretty young, and I was like set on it. After
Right.
that, I was like,
Here we go.
and then I met Stuart Lemoyne like when I was 13 or
Mhm.
12 or 13, and game changer. And also a guy named Robin Phillips came to Edmonton and ran the Citadel, and he was very influential, like a fucking brilliant man. So I very fertile. The Fringe was insane.
But
you
and
know, like-
at the age too, where you, like as a human being, you're still developing. As a man, you still have ways to go yet. You're at a like we all do. You know, you're at a very fertile. Your mind is fertile at that time. You're very pliable.
Yeah.
And to be in that really cool environment with these great people who you're talking about at a really great theater.
Yeah.
Must have been so. When beneficial to launching the rest of your career.
Yeah, when I look at it, well, it explains everything because I left Los Angeles because I missed the theater.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the take us back to what you were originally introducing me and saying I do all these things, it's all over the place.
Right.
It's because when you work in the theater in Canada, I don't know what I'm thinking, but you have to go all over. You have to go where the work is and keep, because I wanted to keep that muscle alive. Like that's what because it was like 10 years ago to the day that I moved from Los Angeles to Toronto.
Right.
I started working in improv and really getting back on stage and being ambitious about it. Creating my own stuff. But if you look back, it's that seminal time when I was 13 or 14 and all these really impressive, amazing, meeting Dana Anderson in the 90s and being thrown into improv and all the great actors who were coming here because of Robin Phillips, Brent Carver, this amazing actor that just like I saw in a performance, I was like, oh, this is what I have to do. And that's always been the calling.
But that was all stuff that you found in Canada. That's
right. And as opposed to being, I never had the drive to go and be famous necessarily, do you know? And I was pretty lucky that when I went to Los Angeles, I was doing it for a cool reason in a neat way, and it happened to me,
Yeah.
But that kind of explains why LA didn't work out, if you know what I mean. Like there's no theater there, and it's not.
Well, LA is a place. It's a place where movies are made and television is made, right?
Yeah.
It's like you go there and like. I'm moving there, and it's to work. I'm going there to work, and I'm glad that I'm going at an older age. I'm glad I'm going in my 30s, because if I would have went in my 20s,
you'd be dead.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
Somebody would be dead.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's a working town, and it's behind the camera, and you've done it already. You've done that. You could easily do it again. But I've seen you do so much live stuff. And I've been, working on myself and developing myself for the last 5 years in Canada, performing on stage, doing improv, bigger and bigger crowds. And I see what you're capable of, what you do, what you've done, that awesome show you did in Toronto, One Night Only, the National Theatre of the World stuff I saw you do, your play now. Every time you improvise ever, you're just killing it. So, I mean, if you ask me why, is because you have these big crowds that love what you do every time you get on stage, and that is so fulfilling. Like that's so awesome and so fulfilling. So, yeah, I admire you, man. I admire you. It's pretty cool.
Fuck you, Wayne.
It's pretty cool, and you just broke my fucking heart right there.
I'm sorry.
That's what I get, Bender. That's what I get. No.
Are these here for a particular? Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah,
that's very nice. I know, like
they're the next guests.
I've no.
Listen, enough with Ron. Biggie Smalls. Listen, you've been dead for a while now. What was your favorite part about Hollywood? So now, but so you've done since
Simple
you've done
Jeep.
both. I can ask you a question about the theater. I can ask you a question
is
about
lighting up, sorry.
Hollywood television. When you were on MADtv, what was the most fun time you had on MADtv, or if you want to say the most fun thing you created on MADtv, or performed?
God, I don't.
I'll give you 2 if it's too close.
Yeah,
3.
Like just something I had fun doing.
Yeah,
or
something you had fun doing, writing, performing in. Something on MADtv that you're like, man, that was fun. That was fun.
There's a sketch I like that it comes to mind that I did with Mo Collins. That was like as an ad for erectile dysfunction.
Right.
But the guy's so fabulously gay. Like the husband is like, my husband was having trouble with it. I just couldn't understand what was wrong. I always thought that was a fun thing to shoot. Stephanie Weir wrote a very fun thing where we were a couple at an anniversary who had taken dance lessons, an old couple, and they wanted to show off their dance, and then it just turns out to be really, really sexual.
You were just
I'm just thinking of funny
elderly
sketches.
Yeah,
that
that's
I like
awesome.
Doing. Yeah.
Well,
I got to play like I played a lot of old men for some reason.
Really, and they just make up.
Yeah, they were famous for their makeup. Their makeup team was like serious. Like they won Emmys for that shit because
Crazy.
they had Scott Wheeler, who's like a Star Trek guy, like prosthetic guy.
Yeah.
Like specialists, and like Jennifer Aspinall, who had like just like an arsenal and had worked on SNL for all these years. Like I got to wear Phil Hartman's mustache in a particular reoccurring sketch. She was like, "This is Phil Hartman's mustache." But
Cool.
but there was just like these guys were serious, and they prided themselves on recreating the looks, and they making a really vivid look. When that show was hot, and like their parodies were fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm.
They did my Woody Allen. Actually, the Woody Allen was always a little bit. I always wish there wasn't as much makeup for that because I thought the acting got lost a little bit. It's a fine line. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because it was like
It was intense.
cheeks and a
Right,
neck and a chin
right.
and a nose and a head bald pate and then a wig and then they
aggressive.
painted it all and then it was like
Wow.
3.5 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which I did it a few times, but
That's crazy.
yeah.
I did your politician sketch as an archive thing for, I think when I first got to Toronto, I went to Humber College for about.
Oh, the senators.
Yeah,
Two
senators.
Fuck, that's a funny.
I
sketch.
did that sketch, like that was me.
That's a Groundling sketch. The guy who wrote it, Stephen Craig, they did it at the Groundlings.
Oh, really?
And so every once in a while they could pull out their old sketch and sell
Use
it
it.
to MADtv. Yeah, so that was a Groundling sketch.
Wow. That was your partner there with you?
Michael McDonald was a Groundling, but
Yeah.
he didn't write the sketch. I don't think. I think it was
Oh.
Stephen Craig who was a Groundling, or Jim Watt.
But I did that as an archival sketch, I think at Humber, or maybe it was.
That's hilarious.
I think it was.
because you liked it, or it was just
No,
in
I
the
was
mix?
assigned it in class.
Wild.
I was assigned it. Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
it was from MADtv, right?
Yeah.
So I did that, and
We rehearsed the hell out of
I
that.
think I
too.
was you. Like I
Right.
get it's almost the same dialogue, but I think I was you.
You're right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
and I can't remember. It was like 7 years ago, but I loved it. It was awesome.
The Great Debate. That's
yeah,
the
it
name
was,
of the
it
sketch.
was
Yeah.
the best. I loved it.
Great
such
sketch.
a good sketch.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I always think of.
That's great writing. There were sketches that had great writing.
Now,
There's a sketch I always wish that I could have performed. Sometimes I remember it was stuck into this week where I had like 8 sketches that week, and the biggest one was at the end of the night in front of a live audience, and it was just I just didn't. It was it's a wedding singer reading out names at a wedding. He has to introduce everybody who's coming
Right.
in, and it's like they're all East Indian names that he's like really bumbling,
Yeah.
and they're shouting at him. He's like, it's a very funny sketch written by
Right.
the same guys. I think that's always when I was like, fuck, damn, but I can't bear to watch myself anyway, ever.
yeah.
I won't be watching this. I don't think it's being recorded, frankly.
Well, it's anyone's guess at this point.
How long
Listen,
how long have we been here?
Oh, we've only been here for an hour and a half. But what I wanted to get to now is 9/11. So, Ron, where were you?
Oh
when
wait,
9/11
9/11.
happened?
Yeah, this is
Where
good because
were
this
you
is,
when 9/11
This is a soapathon story. At 9/11,
2001. September 11th.
Yeah. John Ritter died on 9/11 2 years later. I remember that too. That's weird.
You told me he was, before you told me that he was someone you met in Hollywood that really blew you away or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, we were talking about celebrities that you meet and you were nervous to meet.
Right.
Yeah, he was like, I was nervous, and then he was very nice. But I also remember, because I loved him so much, I just remember when he passed away. Oh, isn't this sad? I've really brought it down.
No. It's this is the way the world is, man.
Yeah,
Life and death.
9/11.
Yin yang. Hot, cold.
Well, I was living with Dana Anderson in his house at 9/11, and it was the Tuesday, and the Soapathon started on the Friday, and we actually were like, should we cancel it? And Stuart Lemoyne was like, no, this is what we do. This is like, we got to USO it and like do a comedy show. But the Soapathon that year was set on a space station that had been knocked out of orbit and was tumbling through space. So it was this great big metaphor.
Wow.
About them trying to get back to Earth. And I remember it being one of those moments, one of the first moments in improv where I was like, oh, this can be really moving too. It can be theater in a weird way, like a cultural, everybody was there together. There was a feeling, because at the end of the Soapathon, which was super fun, we'd forgotten all of that stuff in a way. We had been watching CNN up until Friday, and then we went into the Soapathon, went off into space, and had these imaginative adventures for 53 hours. And as we were coming back at the end, the space station's being pulled back to Earth, the great metaphor, I was in a scene with Kathleen Rutzard and Stephanie Wolf, and they were like, and I was just like, this call was like, whatever, like my character, Lieutenant Pill, is in the bar, and he's feeling a bit low. And Stephanie, they come into the scene, and they go, what's wrong? And I just started saying, I don't want to go back. And it became this whole metaphor for just not wanting to. Why would anybody want to go back there?
Right.
It's an awful, dreadful place. Why can't we just keep spinning in space forever? And so it was just a real moment that was like a bit moving, and everybody was just a bit like in the room felt it. And it made the weekend really powerful.
But that wasn't the only time that's happened to you in improv. It's happened since.
Yes, but that's
a beautiful moment in improv, though, when that can happen. Man.
Yeah, well, then you realize, because some of the stuff I did with Matt and Naomi, we would dare each other to really come from some place.
Yeah.
We were often dealing with playwrights, so it was like, let's not make fun of this playwright. He would care about his characters. How can we care about our characters?
Right.
There's a game I've taught to improvisers where you get two improvisers and we each tell each other a story about when we were really humiliated or really brokenhearted, and then I get you to tell my story. And what happens is you take care of it. Mm-hmm. It's this weird thing. You try to get all the things right.
Right.
And you try, because I've opened it to you, you try to get you want to get that story right. And so it's this care with it, and I'm like, that's what you do with a play, right? You do that with the playwrights. And how do you do that with your own story?
Cool.
And be true to your own emotions, and so we started exploring that stuff in improv, but I can totally trace it back to that moment of 9/11 making me realize the impact that you can have,
Wow.
other than just getting yucks.
So do you remember where you were exactly when 9/11 happened?
Yeah, I was in Dana's house. He had gone to work. I answered the phone. He was like, turn on the TV. The guy's on the news, like going, well, this is an unprecedented, we've never seen anything like it, with smoking behind him, the building smoking behind him. And that as he's talking, I'm going, is that another, like the second plane?
Yeah.
I'm laughing. I don't mean to laugh. I'm just, it was an extraordinary thing.
Yeah, no.
It literally fell to my knees.
You almost can't grasp it. You almost can't grasp it. The New Yorkers who were there that day, the first responders, everybody who was involved in it, I'm sure has a much better grasp. But for us who were everywhere else in the world watching it, we know what happened. We saw the images. But to be there would have been unbelievable. To watch it was actually unbelievable. Like, it was like the next thing was, okay, so now they're going to blow up the White House, then the Pentagon, and everything. Then it's all over. Then we're in World War III. Who do I got to call? Like, it was that close for me because it was the news kept coming in where the first tower is down, the second tower is down, the Pentagon's been hit. Yeah. They're targeting the White House because news companies bullshit. Fake news is a real thing, very real thing, and they bullshit. And
that moon landing is fucking bullshit. You know that?
Here we go.
I'm kidding.
Here we go. There is no moon. No, that's just the sun at night.
You believe in the moon, man? You're fucking
eclipse,
buying in, man.
Eclipse is just a round cloud, man. It's a big round cloud in front of the same thing. But yeah, that was a crazy event. And what are we now? We're 2017. We're 16 years from that. So what does that mean? 16 years away from that event. Is the world? How is the world? Is the world a safer place or is it a worse place? Seems worse. Seems crazier to me. Seems like there's a lot more technology out there. There's a lot more cyber attacks going on. People are getting, banks and businesses are losing billions of dollars stolen from terrorists and hackers. And it's
wait a minute. You're sticking up for the banks?
No, I'm saying these things are happening, and that's where
the banks are robbing us blind.
Funding from
the banks are robbing us blind.
No, the banks are getting robbed by the terrorists, and the companies are getting robbed by the terrorists, and they're funding all sorts of crazy shit.
What terrorists?
All sorts of terrorists, man. Russia, ISIS, all these guys, man.
Yeah, cyber attacks. Sure, Wayne.
They're huge. They're huge right now.
They're huge.
Trust me.
You sound like Donald Trump.
He sounds like me.
Oh.
I was saying this since 96.
This is the wrong.
Yeah.
For your image, this is not.
Don't do it, Wayne.
Don't do it, Wayne.
Yeah. I'm going to start going huge. No, it's not good?
No.
All right. Big. Okay, there. But no, it's the world we live in now, I think, is made less safe by the access and manipulation of information now.
Yeah, it changed everything.
And that's scary. That's scary to me.
It's weird to look back and think about, like, I remember going to see the top of the Empire State Building in like 2004.
So what would have the same impact now? Like what happened in 9/11 that blew our minds? What would that take now to feel like that? You know what I mean? It would be something a lot bigger.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a big tsunami thing that just like fucking.
That's what you're betting on, right? Tsunami.
I'm gonna put my money on tsunami to let's say.
Ron's on tsunami. What are you on,
people.
Pat? What's your money on?
We got to get 1 million.
What's your money on, Pat?
Earthquakes, big earthquakes.
Earthquakes? Did anyone take earthquakes yet?
Apocalypse, just a nuclear.
So earthquakes. That's what you think's gonna take us out. You think that? I think cyber. I'm going cyber.
Cyber.
Yeah, I'm going
Don't
cyber.
even know what that means.
That's the scary thing. That's the scary thing is you don't know what it means.
What is cyber?
We got this guy Elon Musk over here. Keep saying, guys, AI, it's getting crazy. Watch the fuck out. AI's coming. You guys are fucked. And everyone's like, yeah, your Teslas don't work that great yet. And then we disregard them. I think he invented PayPal. I might just be making that up.
You don't believe in climate change,
Did
do
he?
you?
Yeah. Wow.
That's where he got his money from.
You're a climate change denier, isn't that true?
Listen, huge. No. I've seen it with my own eyes, man. I've seen it with my own eyes.
I'm going to try to get that rumor going, yeah.
Yeah.
Wayne, he does not believe in climate change.
No, he's not a climate change guy, and he says huge a lot.
We were going to try to get our friend Mark Meir, Jacob and I were like, let's get a rumor going that he can't read. That's why he loves comic books so much.
Oh,
it's kind of a meme. That's a good prank.
Yeah.
Just get some bad rumors going.
Great prank. No, but it's climate change is real, man. We used to have big snow drifts when we were kids here. Big snow drifts, 6-8 feet high. I remember all the time, and you don't see it anymore. It's just not like that anymore. You know? Do you see it? I don't see it.
Big snow drifts?
Yeah.
You can't. You got to be joking me.
I'm
gonna
joking
walk
you, man.
off this podcast.
No, you're not. We got an hour and a half to go, man.
How long has it been? I don't know. In the how long have we been down here?
We're not getting out anytime soon.
Dear diary.
Before we go,
day 9.
Before we go, Ron Pederson, if you don't know by now, is an amazingly talented guy, great friend of the show. Thank you so much, Ron, for coming back to the show.
Hey, come and see my play I'm directing.
This is your chance now. If you have anything you want to promote, you just go for it.
Shocker's Delight is one of my favorite plays in the entire world by Stuart Lemoyne, Teatro La Quinacina. They've allowed me graciously to attempt to direct it. I've got some great young actors. It's a beautiful romantic play for the fall. It opens on September 28th at the Varscona Theater.
What time?
I don't know, Wayne. Theater
7
time.
p.m.?
7:30.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, people need to know because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard
Go to teatroq.com.
Right.
And check it out. You can
And it's
find
called the name again.
It's Shocker's Delight.
Shocker's
You
Delight.
can find me on Twitter at Ronald Pederson.
And
Instagram.
Instagram, same thing.
Think so.
Yeah.
Oh, Ron_Pederson.
Ron_Pederson with a D. So Shocker's Delight, September 28th.
Yeah,
That's
it's
opening.
Varscona
And how long
Theatre.
does it run for?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay, great. So make sure you go out and see that Edmonton. Ron is a delight on stage. Obviously, he's a delight right now. And what else, Ron? What else are you looking forward to the end of the year here? How you want to end your 2017?
Going to go to Calgary and do a play.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm doing plays.
Cool,
That's
man.
what I do
Yeah,
until
that's what you do.
till the 15th.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Ron Pederson. Check him out, like you said, on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm Wayne Jones. We had fun today. We always have fun every time. They're having a great time. Studio audience is right into it. We'll see you again soon. Thanks so much. Peace out.
Peace.